So, have all my stock in rectangular form all cleaned up and smooth and square sides and all that. And the first thing I'm going to do is I want to use my headstock angle tapering jig here to go ahead and reduce this down to the right angle. And probably seen me do this before. I'll take a little, I'll take most of it off, then come back and clean it up so the blade doesn't wobble. There we go. Nice finish, nice taper. I'm going about 7.5 degrees on that. And here's the jig. Can adjust at this end to adjust the angle. Got a runner on the bottom so it slides straight and pretty safe. Keep your hands on the proper side of the blade and all works pretty good. Okay, so I decided not to film the boring parts of continually going back and forth between the planer and the sander and a jointer. But I've taken those billets and I've now got myself a top glued up. You can kind of roughly see the outline right there. Okay, and this will be the top, and this will be the base. It's really the same thing except it's already got the maple piece on it that goes into the middle there, the sandwich. And so this will be put on top of here. And I was very careful as I did this to make sure that you get this lined up, that the grain from the bottom to the top goes back up, exactly matches where it was, because these two pieces used to be one, these two pieces used to be one. So it should come out pretty attractive that way. Probably got a little more work to do with scrapers, but the next step obviously would be to go back, and I have to do it to the top and the bottom, which is to route out these chambers the way I have them laid out here. I might do it a little different than that for hollowing this out so it doesn't weigh 5 million pounds. And of course this portion here will also be the cavity for the back access for the controls, since there's not going to be a pick guard. Anyway, pretty good so far. Still all nice and flat, and that's all good. Time to cut out the bodies to rough shape, the two parts of the body to rough shape, and take care of that here at the bandsaw. So I've got my fence set up, lined up with the quarter inch bit in it to do the truss rod slot. So let's just go ahead and get some of that done. Of course, I don't have the parts plowed out yet for the front and back, but Width is good. Ways to go more depth, I think. Yep. We'll keep working on it. So what I like to do, since the truss rod, one I'm using is a little bit rectangular in the back. There we go. A little bit, right? And I just cut this slot with a rounded over box core bit. Since the bottom of this is round, I'm taking a little less wood, but I changed the bits out. So I use a wider one for the truss rod access, and I use a flat one up towards the front and the back to take care of these rectangular sections at each end. So to make sure I don't lose my alignment, what I do is I take a couple of blocks, clamp them down to the fence while the fence is clamped down flush and hard, and then I can let go of the fence, back it off so I can get access to my get access to the router. Let's pull the safety off and turn that down. Now I can change the bits, keep the same alignment. I do this when I put this back. I have to re-mark the center because it's hard to keep it laterally correct. Just make sure that it's on the line, which is the most important part. And this, I just take it out to there. Now I've got where the bit's at. I've got this locked back down in position on line. Let these go. And everything should be copacetic. And I can check that a little bit before turning this on by making sure that this fits over at least. A little deeper. It's not a problem. Not a problem. Okay. Now I need to roughly mark how far back I need to go for that. And for that. So I'm just taking a 6mm and 3mm chisels, square off this end here since the end of the truss rod is square. Can't get the front end yet, but I can see that it's gonna work there pretty good. Maybe just a little bit more trimming there. Then we'll take care of the front and we'll be good to go. Now you can see with that 3/8 bit, makes a little bit of a wider spot there and access for the nut part of the truss rod, and then I can drill straight through here and get the access that I need. So I'm going to square these ends up, at least this one with a chisel. This will be covered by a cover. Oddly enough. So now we're just going to drill through the front for the access. So now we have a nice fit for the truss rod and access. So far so good. So on the bandsaw, I cut out this part of the profile, roughly did this headstock shape, got it close, and got it close on the top profile. Now I'm using my template to go ahead and start removing material to get the neck to the final shape in this direction. And obviously I'm just using my router for that. And we'll just keep at it here. So I mainly do the shaping of this part with the router. But as far as the headstocks go, you know, a lot more of this is still going to get carved away when it gets rounded over in the back. The headstock's not. So I generally finish the shaping of those with the spindle sander. So I can get right up to the line. It stays nice smooth. I don't have to worry about anything chipping out or anything. So, and this is the first time I worked with the Bubinga, and it seems to be like it wants to be a little chippy. So the next thing I need to do is to slot the fretboard, and the fretboard is also Bubinga, and actually it came out of this part of the board when I cut that shape out the bandsaw. I saved myself enough for a 7mm thick piece of Bubinga, nice and straight for the. So I've got my setup going here. I've got my blank attached to one of these indexed rules for 25. This one's 25.5 and 25. I'm going to use 25.5 scale. I've got my sled here, which makes it a lot easier to keep everything steady. And I have a little indexing pin right here that fits into these notches. So all you have to do is put it in the notch and glide it through and keep going until you've got all your frets done. So I only cut 22 frets. That's what I have. And I'm going to trim everything else to fit. One job taken care of. We're just going to take the excess off of this end for the nut, where the nut goes. If it starts to stick a little bit, you can always put your fingers on there with a little bit of Renaissance wax or something like that. Open that up. There you go. Now I'm cut this other end off when I decided how much I want to have overhanging before I get to the first for the neck pickup. So got a while to cut that off. That can happen a little bit later. All right. Looks good.